Retail Therapy, episode 21. My name's Will DeFries. With me in the studio, my loyal co-host, Barrett Dudley. Barrett, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We've had our things, we've had our trips. You just returned from one. It's sleepy in here. I know you're jet lagged. This is like 11 p.m. for you right now or something, but I feel like it's contagious. You're giving me the yawn somehow.
I apologize in advance. Last night we got in at about 5 o'clock, and it was an absolute war trying to keep my eyes open past 8 p.m. last night. And when I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning, I felt so spry.
Did you have to come back and just like jump right back into dad duties?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did what I didn't want to do, which was immediately walk in the door, dump the suitcase, grab my son, and immediately go eat Tex-Mex after eating pasta and pizza, drinking wine, and doing all that. And so I really feel like a total piece today.
This is a requirement in your family, correct?
But we did not go to the restaurant that you would have thought we went to. Yeah, we went to one closer because I did not want to drive or sit in traffic on a Monday night to go eat food that I did not feel like eating.
Got it.
I made us pivot, but I'm back, and I just need to make it tonight a little later than 8 o'clock, and hopefully just sleep until about 7 tomorrow.
Right.
But jet lag is kind of a flex, you know? It's like,
a definite flex.
I'm so jet lagged.
If you're jet lagged, that means that you were somewhere like further than 4 hours away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
I'm so tired from being jet lagged, you know? It's unnecessary.
Yeah, but it is kind of necessary today. I mean, I've got some questions for you about this trip that you just got back from. So
I have a question for you. Where is your shirt from today, Barrett?
This is Saturdays.
Okay.
It was a little collaboration that they did with Mr. Porter a couple years ago. Do you know somebody influenced me on this shirt, and I'm a little embarrassed about who it was.
Is this an offer to me to guess?
You don't have to guess. I can just tell you. It was Scott Disick.
Oh, I don't think you should be ashamed of that.
Well, he's kind of a piece.
Yeah, he is. But
we get on Leo's case for not dating anybody over 25. Like Scott Disick's cutoff is like 20. Like if you have a 2 in front of your age, he's donezo.
While I understand why you might go that route of comparing those two, I think that you might be holding Scott Disick at maybe a little too high of an esteem there. I mean, Leo's won an Academy Award. He's won numerous Golden Globes. Scott Disick, had a baby with Kourtney Kardashian and then started a clothing line called Talentless, which is just a very cocky and unnecessary move.
Yeah, he really was though. He was like, for a long time, like 4 or 5 years ago, he was kind of the arbiter of like a very certain kind of LA cool.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he was big on like John Elliott, skinny denim and like Common Project sneakers.
Oh, yeah.
And he definitely had a vibe. And so this was, I saw him like wearing this shirt in, some coastal or tropical destination. I was like, damn, that thing bangs. And then I picked it up off the Mr. Porter sale for like $70. So
that's a great shirt.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law actually bought a matching set from Talentless, just kind of like a long sleeve shirt, some sweat shorts. And he pretty much wore it every night on vacation when we were on a family vacation, and every single night I was very jealous of how comfortable he looked.
Yeah, really? Okay.
I was like, I might have to go actually check out some of this Talentless stuff.
I tried some of their t-shirts a few years ago. The fit was bad.
Okay.
The return process was worse.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've heard is that the consumer experience, the customer experience, not ideal.
I'm glad that you said that, because I would have felt really bad had somebody taken what I said about my brother-in-law looking comfortable and then they went and bought it themselves and then just had the worst time returning it.
I'll just look. There are better options out there for at the price point, I think, as well. Like it's fine. It is what it is. I just think there's better stuff out there.
We have an absolutely loaded episode today. Yeah. I'm not going to waste any time right now.
Okay.
Go follow retail.pod on Instagram. We're stacking followers. I kind of regret, revealing retail.pod to everybody before I left for vacation, because I was kind of hoping to load it with content. But I'm back. It's going to happen. I'm happy with it. But yeah, go over there. Make sure you go follow. And if you're in the following mood, youtube.com/Sunday Scaries podcast. You can find every retail therapy episode on there. Barrett is always out there just on the 1s and 2s, putting graphics up on the screen for me. Just go check it out. And additionally, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Babel. an app that I was using continually up to my trip to Italy. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at learning new languages, and so I could not use as much as I thought I could use when I got there. But I also didn't do a good enough job myself of preparing myself. If you're like me and there's a foreign language that you regret not learning in school, it's never too late to start with Babel. I really started from ground zero with, no idea of how to say any Italian, and I actually kind of surprised myself being like, "Oh, I can respond to that. I can respond to that." Babel is the language learning app that's sold more than 10 million subscriptions. And thanks to Babel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons, you can finally cross learning that new language off your list. With Babel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson, so you can start having a real-life conversation in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. I actually set it up so I get an alert every night, right around dinner time cooking, to see if I want to take a lesson that night.
Mhm.
And I kind of like it. I kind of feel like in the kitchen, learning a little something, talking to my phone a little bit.
How do you say one more of those in Italian?
That's just me that's me just pointing at my glass.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I'm sure that lesson will come up for me soon, but until then, I'm just gonna keep pointing at my glass.
Babel needs to make just like a Sunday Scaries, that like a specific lesson that's just for for the podcast specifically,
Mhm.
and like whatever language you choose, it's just like that's the first thing you learn is like one more of those.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
perfect. I've also used this to brush up on my Spanish because, I mean, being in Texas, it comes in handy. And that's what's actually helped me so much is actually brushing up on it. It's been great. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, German. And plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. There's so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcasts, games, videos, stories, and even live classes. And plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Right now, you can get up to 55% off your subscription. You go to babbel.com/scaries. That's BABBEL.com/scaries for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. As we said, I am a little bit jet lagged. I just flew in yesterday, and Barrett, you have listed out some questions, so I'm going to hand the microphone to you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I feel like you'll probably. I know you. I saw via Instagram that you were getting a lot of questions about your trip, so I'm going to try to save some content for other podcasts for you. But there are a few things that I feel are natural fits for this podcast, and a couple things that I just we were talking about leading up to this trip.
Yes.
That I feel like we need to check back in on.
Okay.
So the first thing, we got to hear how the luggage thing went. Did you end up trying to check a bag? Did you carry on exclusively? Was that successful? How did that all pan out? How was Heathrow? Give us the scoop on the luggage.
I can proudly say that we carried on every single thing. We took 2 larger away carry-ons.
Okay.
And those are, the correct dimensions in order to carry on. We
mhm.
took 2 of those. And we took a garment bag that was stuffed to the gills. Not overly stuffed, but I mean, we really made the most of the garment bag, and 1 backpack. Outside of that, the only other bag that we had was Sally's purse that she used on the trip.
Okay.
And everything else we fit into those bags. We did have the luxury of doing 1 load of laundry. It was not a very good load of laundry that we could do, as I learned very quickly that 18th century Italian villas don't have the best washing machines,
Right.
nor do they have dryers. And so the load of laundry that we actually did, we set out to dry overnight. It did not dry overnight, and we ended up having to pack a bunch of kind of damp clothes.
That's not good.
It made it a little difficult. But we did employ the shrink wrap kind of move. And some people said beforehand that they didn't think it helped them that much. I think it helped us a lot. And credit to Sally. She was in there
were
doing
you
it.
vacuum packing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the little the suction thingy, the whole.
Yeah,
Okay.
ours looked like a kind of like a pump that you would use for a basketball.
Right.
And we just put it in our luggage.
I
And it
can't
worked.
imagine that not helping.
It helped. I mean, it really,
You
truly
know?
helped. What we did was we put everything in, and we kind of tried to place it out by location.
Mhm.
And then once we did that, Sally would put it in the suitcase. She would flat it all out, and then she would just start doing it, and then it would kind of fit perfectly in, and you could really fit 2 heavily stacked bags on top of each other. And it actually worked so well that we had half of a suitcase that we could really use for anything else, like dop kits, shoes, things like that. I mean, I pretty much had to. There were times when my backpack really didn't even have much in it.
Yeah.
And so it was doable. And even if we didn't have the load of laundry, I think we still would have been fine. We spent enough days wearing a bathing suit that it didn't really matter what kind of clothes we had. I had a pair of white pants that had a pen mark because I dropped the check on myself when I was signing it one night. But I didn't. I
Yeah.
tried not to let those things bother me.
Do you feel like you missed an opportunity with the clothes washing to get like a super aesthetic photo of like all of your clothes like pinned up on a clothesline,
Yes.
like dangling off of a cliff on like in a Malfi?
Yes, instead they were just leaned over like a staircase in probably annoying all the other we were staying in a villa with a bunch of other people who were in the wedding,
Yeah.
and I think I just annoyed everybody because my clothes were just everywhere, and they're like, "Wow." I feel like everyone probably felt like they were into some kind of movie and like it was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Well, there's a bunch of t-shirts over there. Don't mind my pants over there. No big deal." I think Heathrow was actually fine. I think had we checked, it would have been okay. And I'm a little worried that my cautiousness caused my dad actually lost his suitcase on a flight while I was gone. And I was like, see, I transitioned my stress of this
Uh-huh.
straight over to him. And so Heathrow is actually fine and flying through was okay. But, you know, carrying on when you're going abroad was actually phenomenal.
Yeah.
It makes your life so much easier. It
If
allowed us to skip every single customs line. I mean, we were just in heaven.
if you can force yourself to like rise to the challenge,
Mhm,
essentially, like
mhm,
make yourself do it because
mhm.
it's definitely not the easy way,
No.
right? You know, it's where do you put the hair dryer? Where do you put all your toiletries that are over 3.2 ounces? How are you going to bring 5 pairs of shoes? You don't. Like you have to go like a little bit more Spartan. You have to like do some things that are extra, like maybe like the vacuum packing or going and finding little bottles and bobs to like put your stuff. You know, there's a little extra legwork up front. But like you're saying, on trips where I have packed light or been in a carry-on only, there is something very freeing about that.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
checking a bag is absolutely an anchor. That's why some people just straight up refuse to do it ever.
I think I'm skewing. I'm starting to get that way.
Yeah.
And I also will say that I wore every single thing I packed outside of like 2 pairs of underwear.
That's also a great feeling.
Everything
Love
I
coming back
wore.
from a trip and being like, I nailed it because I wore every single thing.
And I rewore a couple shirts, but I didn't mind. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like I rewore them to the same restaurants or anything. I just kind of it was like I rewore them in different cities, so it
Mhm,
was great.
mhm.
It was great.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on the successful packing. Okay,
Thank you.
let's check in on. Okay, we've talked multiple times on the pod about headphones and about AirPods Max,
hmm
which you did end up procuring a pair of these.
I did.
And when we even talk about it like offline occasionally, and I've sent you like just the barrage of models wearing them just grows by the day.
Everybody.
You know, the little curved mirror pick with like
Mhm.
a crop top and like low slung pants on, or gym wear with the AirPods Max just shining. What I was saying to you like ahead of the trip is that I don't feel like I see them in person. You know, I never see anybody actually wearing them. And
Mhm.
then over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed more and more and more are popping up at my gym. Now there's like 3, 4, 5 people that are like regularly wearing them.
Oh yeah.
They're big on the treadmills and stairmasters, like if that's the type of cardio workout that you're doing.
Which I can't imagine wearing these on something where I sweat.
And then I also see them on the I don't know what to call them, but they're like the weight girls or the CrossFit girls type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They're like they're not just maintaining on the cardio department.
Mhm.
They're like doing squats
They're
with
getting
like the heavy
gains,
bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Seen a lot of over ear headphones, kind of broadly speaking. But yes, the AirPods Max are popping up more and more. So, what did you see out there? Were you just in a sea of AirPods Max, or were you big time flexing?
Saw them in the airport a decent amount, but where I really saw them, and we'll get more into this in a few minutes here, was there were 2 restaurants that we kind of sat outside at in London because the weather was perfect. And so that's where I really saw people walking down the street rocking these. And it was a lot of people. And all these people, and I will say, all these people were people who didn't look like they cared about the sound quality of anything. It just looked like people who wanted to look at
Yeah.
like aesthetic and,
Yes.
current. And
Yeah.
so I do have some gripes with them.
Okay.
They are great if you are just enjoying a media experience yourself. They don't come with a cord that you can plug into a plane if you want to watch something on, in-flight entertainment.
Yep.
The cord that you buy from them to do that, it's not the best cord when it comes to plugging into the plane. Kind of made it a non-factor
Yeah.
for me. Additionally, and I don't know if there's a way to fix this, it's very difficult to not have them pop up on other people's phones to connect when you take them out because they don't have like an on switch. You just put them on your ears and they connect and they do it. And
Yeah.
so if it doesn't connect to your phone quickly, suddenly it starts scanning for everyone around you. And there was a dude next to me and he's like, "Are you trying to connect? Sorry, I'll just deny this right now." I was like, "Thank you, sorry." And this happened like at least twice, I think 3 times.
Interesting.
Uh,
Interesting.
and the
Okay.
other one is, and the reason I said I can't believe people are working out of them is that the earpieces are kind of more of a fabric as opposed to a leather, and so it
Hmm.
just sounds terrible. It doesn't bother someone like me who's not working out of them, who doesn't have makeup and things like that, but I know that people, especially people that wear makeup, have a hard time keeping them clean.
Yeah.
So whether that bothers you or not is whatever, but they are comfortable. The sound quality is great. They have like spatial sound. They are really fun headphones to wear, especially if you're watching like an action movie or I mean, just watching Industry on it. I was watching
Yeah.
a lot of that when we were gone. I just enjoyed them. So yeah, but they're popping up a lot more places.
It's definitely a bubbling trend,
Hmm.
if not a full on wave going on out there with the AirPods Max. Okay, next question for you. You have talked about this friend of yours who runs a little boutique travel agency. Help me pronounce the name right. Is it Lux and Nix?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Not to be confused, by the way, with there's another Lux and Nix out there that I think does women's bags. So make sure you drop an E on the end of that Lux if you're out there searching for them.
Yes.
You have done many trips with the assistance of Lux and Nix.
Correct.
At this point, are they choosing every single place you stay on vacation?
No.
Okay.
So she could, and I would trust her. She's one of my best friends, just in general, and so I will always scream her name from the rooftops. But even if I didn't, uh, have that relationship with her, she's invaluable. Um, to planning a trip that is not just me sitting at a hotel all day.
Hmm.
And I used to think that's what I wanted to do on vacation is just sit at the hotel and sit at the pool all day. But she's so good at coming up with things. The beautiful thing about this is that Sally has now become really good friends with her, and those two together are an absolute problem. And so and Sally's a big Instagram researcher when it comes to doing trips.
Okay.
So when it comes to restaurants, she'll start following just restaurants wherever we're going, whether
Hmm.
it's Italy, whether it's like Colorado, it could be anywhere. I mean, it could just be like going to, you know, LA or something. And so she just goes and she tries to screenshot everything to really save stuff. And those two together are very good at it. But I mean, the she was forwarding us articles. I mean, we had the queen die right before we went. And she was sending us articles being like, "Hey, you need to be aware of all these things.
Okay.
If you want to move your flight, she's not. I mean, I don't want to use her to move my flights or anything,
Right.
but she'll give us a heads up like this might be really difficult. Well, you can't cancel that because it's a 48-hour policy. Blah blah blah. But we had. I'm not very good at traveling sometimes, and she has a full like there's an app that you just download and you have your full itinerary, notes on everything, phone numbers, Italy tipping guides, like things like that. And so it just kind of takes the question marks out of it.
Yeah.
And when I look back on it, I felt so relaxed after everything we did, but at the same time, I also felt as though we had an activity planned almost every day. And the days that we didn't, it was an intentional kind of day of leisure. And so yeah, I mean, she's been phenomenal. She's been on Sunday Scaries. Go listen to that one, and I'm probably going to force her to come back on this fall.
I feel like she should, because it definitely seems like she has just bettered your travel experience overall. And
Absolutely.
the reason I asked the question kind of leads into my next one, which is just look, you are an aesthetic guy. You are brilliant when it comes to taking photos, capturing aesthetics. You and Sally are both extremely photogenic. That all of these things are like at some point I imagine you were like, hey, I'm really good at this. I can turn this into an entire career, and then you did successfully. So, all of those things like kind of just are kind of preface. They almost go without saying, but I wanted to ask you because I feel like anybody that follows you, maybe you've touched on this on podcasts before, but you should probably just touch on it like once out of every 10 podcasts.
Okay.
But beyond filters,
Yes.
what are like 3 tips? What are 3 things that you think maybe you do that other people don't do when it comes to photographing both landscapes and people? And
Okay.
if you say nothing, then that's also okay, because sometimes I just wonder if this is like a nature versus nurture thing
Well,
where you just have it or you don't.
I've always been a very visual person my entire life. Like I never liked reading. Even I remember teachers in elementary school would allow me to read books that were like more graphic novel kind of things, even comic strips, just because I always liked that. And I always liked looking at those things. And I was always illustrating stuff when I was little. I always took art classes all through high school. I've always liked photography. And so I do think I have a slight knack just for photography in general
Okay.
and have an eye for it. And I also think that my history of work has always kind of led me to having a decent eye for those kind of things, graphic design work, things like that. But I was actually telling Sally because people will respond to the stories and be like, what's the filter? And I want to be like, the filter's not going to solve your problems
The
here.
filter doesn't matter.
Uh,
I can assure
but
the listeners out there it's not a filter.
So here's the issue that people have with filters. People over filter and they don't realize this. You can't just click the filter and then export the photo and call it good. Like most of these programs, even iPhone, whether it's iPhone, whether it's Visco, whether it's whatever app that you're using,
Yeah.
you can reduce the filter. So you just have to find a
Yeah,
filter
very
that
true.
does it. But the number one thing, okay, so so that's my first tip. Find a filter you like that complements the photo and then reduce it down. The second tip that I have, and this is the one that really kills me, is that people do not align their photos well. I'm sure there's some words for this that photographers use. I don't know what those are. I'm not a
It's
professional
like it's
trained
the
photographer.
framing,
Yes.
right? It's yeah.
But it's like if the horizon is not level,
Mhm.
it's not going to look as good. It's not going to be pleasing to the eye. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a whole rule of thirds guy. That is not something I give a shit about. But if there's a horizon in the photo or there are lines, I try to line every single thing up, and that's the only thing I will actually edit on a photo. So it's like if I'm taking a photo next to a building, then I make sure the building looks like it's straight up. If it's a
Mhm.
straight up building. I mean, if I'm at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, then I'm not going to straighten out the Leaning Tower. But like, it's just like straighten out the photo, make it look good. You might have to skew it, you might have to warp it, but just make sure it's geometrically, satisfying.
Yeah.
The final thing, and like,
Give me something on capturing people.
so Sally and I like took a few mirror selfies.
Uh-huh.
What I've learned about mirror selfies is that mirror selfies turn out way better if you do it in portrait mode. You just capture yourself in portrait mode, take it. Oh, another thing. Portrait mode does make your photos look really nice.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that you can edit your portrait mode photos down from being like super blurred, and you can reduce the amount of blur in the background and make it feel less severe. And you can use that on photos and not even have it like look like you took it in portrait mode. It just looks like a shallow depth of field that looks very tasteful and nice.
Got it.
It's just a combination of those. But I will say, like, I've worked in graphic design. Uh, I taught myself graphic design stuff when I was in high school. I worked in like an upperclassman level role doing graphic design and photo editing when I was 18.
Okay.
Like I shouldn't have gotten that job, but they saw my stuff and they were like, "Oh, you can do this." And so I have always had that. But I mean, people always think that a filter will solve everything. It won't. But I think I think the most important thing is the alignment and
So
everything like
I
that.
mean, but you make a good point as well, and I brought up the nature versus nurture. Like you basically do have 18 years of practice or 17 years of practice at this point.
I actually wish that I would like take more time to spend more time on photography. I saw a bunch of people on our trip who were taking like really nice photos with really nice cameras. And
Mhm.
I was thinking to myself, like, I would actually enjoy doing that. I just am a little too lazy and I don't really feel like learning the ins and outs of a camera, but I think I'm decent enough at that stuff that I could probably figure it out.
I feel like you also could. Your iPhone photos are usually so good though that like I feel like that would also be a deterrent for me. Like if I was taking great shots all the time with my phone, it almost like reduces the need
Yeah,
to
I'm
like
pretty
get into
satisfied with
the,
digital photography when it
Right.
comes just from the phone. Like, I just don't really care about, taking it to the next level unless I need to.
Okay.
But I do want to do a coffee table book one day. So maybe that's when I'm going to actually need to step up my game and get some real high res photos.
Yeah.
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 All right. That wraps up the questions that I felt like I had to come in here and ask you today. Thank you for humoring me.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about the strip as we get into to our subsequent segments here. But I will save the rest of the audience questions for
I think
for another time or your other podcast.
I'm short on time this week, but I think I'm going to take scaries this week and just do a straight up itinerary breakdown and then answer some of the questions because it's been a lot of people reach out about questions and I want people to I want to give itinerary tips and say what my favorite things were because I mean just a lot of people reach out, especially through scaries,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so I will probably spend this week doing that and actually giving a general itinerary and general takes on things for that episode. Might be a little different episode than what people are used to, but that's what it'll be. But one thing that I really want to talk about was London style because I think London is a city that I absolutely love. I think I already was kind of in love with it, and this last trip really solidified that. Like, I think it's probably my favorite city on earth.
Okay.
And so I texted you because I was like, I need to talk. I need to talk to somebody about the style that I saw in London. Sally and I did an outdoor lunch day one at a place called the Thomas Cubit. Very nice, cool restaurant. The restaurant group that owns it owns a lot of different, really kind of cool restaurants all around town. But it's casual. It's relaxed. We did a Sunday roast there the other day. That was delightful. Had a really good time. But the best part was the people watching. And then later in the day, we went to a restaurant in Chelsea called Polpo, which is an Italian restaurant. We did not eat there. We just went there for a drink because they had some open outdoor tables. And this is in the middle of a giant shopping district in Chelsea that had a ton of stores, which meant that there were a ton of good-looking people wearing good-looking clothes walking around. The style over there is absolutely phenomenal right now. It might just me being very excited for fall fashion in general,
Hmm.
but I couldn't stop just looking at people. The thing that surprised me the most was the amount of people just vaping over there. Everyone's vaping, and somehow making it look cool. Not big for me. Probably not an accessory I'm going to pick up this fall. I'm not sure. I'm not going to. I'm not sure about you, Barrett.
That's good. Yeah. No, I think we can. I think we can safely pass on the vaping. Keep our health above aesthetic on that one. But that tracks. Like
Yeah.
Europeans smoke way more than Americans.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure. So it
Definitely.
makes sense that they are also vaping more.
The things that there were two different things that I saw that were just absolutely the front runners for the most popular things, and it was oversized clothing that we've talked about numerous times over the last couple months. Like large jackets, a lot of I don't want to call them shackets, but it's just kind of like just oversized like top shirt kind of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Like that was more of the high fashion looking people with the cropped pants with like high end sneakers on, things like that. And then there was the more prep style of things that was very, very evident, more evident than I was anticipating. We were in Chelsea. We were in a very bougie neighborhood that probably has people dressing like that without even trying to. But it was barn coats. It was just kind of well tailored, um, pants and sweaters, pleated pants. The thing that I thought was very surprising to me, and this is probably just British in itself, was the amount of gigantic logos on hats and on jackets, like almost shields, like coat of arms kind of things.
Interesting.
And that was something that felt almost like really old school prep that I hadn't really seen much of yet over here. That was just a lot of guys walking up. It was just dudes in horn rimmed glasses with like old hats on that just had giant like logos on them. It was just crazy. And then I texted you about the Nike Dunk Lows were very popular over there, especially among women. And a lot of the guys, most of the guys who, and I would say these guys skew ladcore,
Yeah.
are Reebok Club C guys.
Yeah.
The Reebok Club Cs were everywhere. And producer Randy has been rocking these for the past month. And I think I'm gonna have to swagger jack producer Randy at some point because I need to get my ladcore on.
Yeah. I feel like London style, especially for like younger people, it's similar to New York in like the color palette and like the kind of like a lot of dark, kind of black bases.
A lot of black
But-
matched with navy
But
blue.
they also skew, I think, more and I just mean almost like historically as well. Like a little there, you just see more of like that of the active wear out and about, and there are just more brands or different brands that you see that are popular over there. Like Reebok is bigger. Plus, I feel like people wear more like Kappa and Puma
Yes.
and like just
Yes.
like stuff that's the U.S. is very like Adidas and Nike.
But like our version of athleisure is different, so much different than
totally.
theirs. Like
Yes,
our
yes.
version of athleisure makes it look like you just got done working out, or you're heading to a workout that you're skipping a workout to get drunk instead.
Exactly.
Whereas their athleisure is like, I'm going to wear these Adidas warm up pants with this $4,000 coat, and it's like, okay, you're operating on a different level than me.
Yeah, it's definitely they definitely work it in a different way. I've also heard that Dunk Lows, which are borderline impossible to get stateside, like sit on shelves over there. So I don't know if it's like because like they kind of misweigh the production numbers versus the number of people that are actually over there,
Mhm.
or if Americans are just absolute fiends for
Yeah.
dunks right now, and Nike knows it, and so they continue to like purposely short the market. But like apparently the Dunks are a little easier to get over there.
I saw a bunch of New Balance 350s.
Mm,
No,
550s.
550s. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, and none of them were the ALD ones.
You can.
Ding ding. 30 minutes in. All of them were colorways that I had really never seen before, but I
Yeah.
also haven't done a lot of research on them, so that I can't really vouch if they were like unique to over there. But that was interesting to me. I unfortunately did not make any. I didn't do any shopping.
No shopping. Okay.
At that point, I didn't really feel like spending more money. We had already spent enough on the trip as it was, and I wasn't. You know how you can get at the end of a
Oh, yeah.
vacation, and so I didn't really feel like doing it. And we also were very short on time, and I prioritized hanging out with a friend all day instead of going shopping. Sometimes you have to prioritize your friends over
That's
getting kitted out.
That's smart. That's smart. It's funny. I feel like I don't know if that's just kind of it's probably just like the life stage that we're at.
Yeah,
But I don't shop really when I travel
yeah,
at the moment. Even I mean, like yes, if I'm in a spot like New York or LA that has a bunch of stores that I will never get to go to otherwise, just because like I know that like
See, that's my
I know they're not
regret.
going to put one of those in Austin
That's my regret about London. 'Cause I was like,
anytime
oh, there's
soon.
some stores here that I just
Well,
want to
so
go to.
I guess, but the kind of the maybe the line that I'm drawing is like, obviously, you made the right choice to spend some quality time with a friend
I did.
over over going to some stores.
We also didn't have
but
any
like,
room to pack anything, which
but
made it easier.
yeah. But like, I might go check out the stores. I might go to End or Oi Polloi in London, but like, probably not going to buy anything because
I told
traveling is just
Sally,
expensive as hell, and you're spending money on like going out and having fun and doing and drinks and dinners, and the hotels are not cheap and like all that type of stuff. So it definitely limits that desire to also be like dropping racks at cool stores.
and like
So
I didn't want to go to. The only reason I wanted to go to ALD was to see the actual physical space. And
right,
the thought of me going there and seeing a line, I was like, I'm not waiting in line.
yeah,
You know, I do have a lot. So I asked for recommendations at retail.pod for places to go to, and I'm going to read off some of them now. A lot of people said Liberty, the ALD flagship in Soho. Duke's Cupboard, which I guess the Throwing Fit guys have recommended numerous times. I'm not familiar with that.
okay,
Let me see. A lot of people said Harrods just simply for the experience. I haven't been there since Friends taped over there. We were randomly over there for spring break when I was younger, and
okay.
that's when they were taping the Friends episodes.
Oh, nice.
And so we actually saw. I think we saw one of them in Harrods, but we didn't have time to go there again.
Was it David Schwimmer?
More, I think it was David Schwimmer. More Liberty. Some guy named Barrett Dudley said Selfridges and Oi Polloi. How do you say that?
Oi Polloi. You nailed it.
William Crabtree, Trunk Clothiers. Drake's is where I really wanted to
Drake's,
go. I
yeah,
really wanted to
yeah.
go to Drake's to try some stuff on because I've been wearing a lot of Drake's lately, and I've been really, I've been loving it. But everyone's saying Liberty London, Marylebone High Street, Rivet and Hyde, Bond Street for window shopping and great shop windows. Let me see. Brick Lane Vintage Market in Shoreditch. Another Selfridges. Fortnum and Mason for the best tea to bring home. My sister submitted the Portobello Road Outdoor Market. I don't think that's for actual clothes. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we just didn't have time, unfortunately. But it's probably better. Like I said, we didn't
Here's
have any
Liberty
room.
of London. Liberty of London looks like maybe kind of almost like a London Barney's. That's kind of what I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Montclair, Stone Island, Acne Studios, YMC, etc. So yeah, it's probably a cool place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but just there's something about that city that's just like cool. And I think another thing for me is that I've always kind of liked like the Nordic style, the very simplistic, like whatever. I mean, the first time I saw Norse Projects, I was like, oh, this like I'm into this.
Yeah.
And I actually have never bought anything from them, but I've always kind of been an admirer. And that's a lot of what you see is a lot of the style that we've talked about on here, and then just completely mixed in with that clean Nordic style, and it just puts out a really nice fall vibe for London.
Yeah. Do you find yourself really able to understand everybody over there because you watch so much Love Island?
I sometimes, but then like sometimes people have such aggressive accents that I'm like, you're a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I can't take you seriously right now. I felt like they had trouble understanding me.
They probably do.
I think they probably have much more difficulty understanding us than we do them.
There's just the new Great British Bake Off just started.
See, I did not even know
as we
that, and I can't
mentioned
wait.
Off mic just before the show, And that's like they just have the best slang over there.
Hmm.
Like I know it won't sound as cool in our dumb American accents, but like I want to bring in it over here
Hmm.
and banter and geezer
Hmm.
and like bird. Like
Hmm.
these are just good. These are just good, better words than we
It
have.
really is.
So you know,
It really is. And also, to anyone out there, actually, no, I'll say it. There's been a lot of talk about Indian restaurants over there. I put this on the Sunday Scary Story yesterday.
hmm
Dishoom is my goat. And that is not a pun about eating goat at Dishoom, which
Okay.
you should order the goat. But there are people that are frantically trying to get in this restaurant called Gymkhana, which is a great restaurant. They have a Michelin star. We didn't even realize it when we ate there. We got in and out of there for a very reasonable price, and it was an extremely good meal at Gymkhana. Dishoom is so good in London, in Edinburgh, wherever else.
Did these places both require like reservations 30 days in advance or something?
Gymkhana, we could only get a reservation through our maitre d' or not maitre d', concierge at
Okay.
our hotel.
But
And
he
then
worked it for you.
yes, and I don't think it was an easy work.
Nice.
And then Dishoom is beautifully walk-ins only.
Okay.
And so we had to wait an hour,
Not
which
bad.
is fine.
Yeah.
And they sit you down, they get you a couple cocktails, and you do just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the London breakdown. I feel like London was probably where I was going to spend the least time in terms of the Sunday Scaries episode this week. So I'm glad that
You also you had a soccer match canceled, right?
yeah, that was tough. And so it got
That's
postponed.
yeah.
We still have the tickets, and I might actually try to go. It might be a reckless decision,
Okay.
but if it gets scheduled at an opportune time, and if I can convince, I have a certain person that if I can convince them to go with me, I think I might just try to use the tickets because it was pretty devastating. The only reason we flew through London in the first place was to go do that, was to go to some soccer
Right.
games and do that.
Yeah.
The Queen died. They canceled everything,
It's
and
crazy.
so it was
It's
just
amazing.
kind of a bummer. But overall, it was London's a pretty easy place to distract yourself from watching soccer. But I was a little sad about that. And one thing that's great about London is that if you have any questions about what to wear, you can just put on all black and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did for dinner, like both nights. Yeah. And guess what? Black is also something I wear when I'm not feeling very in shape, Barrett, because it's slimming. And you told me one time that black flatters me, and so I've just held on to that for my entire life. But sometimes it's easy to fall out of good habits, and that's when you start wearing the most black. But guess what? When fun season turns into busy season, that's when it starts to go downhill. But putting off working out now leads to the same old New Year's resolution to get back in shape. And Fitbod's smart workout app scientifically tailors an exercise program to your goals, equipment, and schedule, so you can keep your calendar your full calendar and your summer gains. On the app, you can set your goals. You can see your progress. They make sure that every workout is different than the last by having an algorithm that suits you. It's motivating to work out using it because it's suited to you, because it tells you what to do and you know that it's working. It's targeting different muscle groups. It's just helping you out. It's truly the easiest way to work out. Fitbod's smart workout app creates a custom dynamic exercise program based on your goals, experience, and equipment, and then it varies your routine to avoid overtraining. Their algorithm uses data and analytics to scientifically build your best next workout and maximize results. You can see your muscle usage, recovery, achievements, and workout streaks right in the app. You're in control. This is also a more convenient and cheaper way to work out than with a personal trainer. Just think about how much personal trainers cost and then wait until you hear how much we can save you today. For less than the cost of one session with a personal trainer, you can get a full year of personalized workouts with Fitbod. Fit exercises into your schedule because the best time of day to exercise is whenever you are free. This works on all your devices, iOS, even if you got that new iOS, Barrett. You got that hot new background on your phone or what?
I do not. No,
Come
I don't
on.
even think it was off. Wait, what is the hot new background?
I don't know. You can like make sure the time is covered up by
Oh
a
yeah,
mountain or something. It's kind of annoying.
No. I don't even think I was offered that new iOS to be totally honest. Your boy's about to grab the new phone to go along with my new Fitbod.
Well, Android devices work as well, and the app is super easy to use. Keep your workout momentum going. Get personalized workouts from Fitbod that get tougher as you do. Get 25% off your subscription or try out the app for free when you sign up now at fitbod.me/scaries. That's 25% off your subscription or try it free at fitbod.me/scaries. Today, I had the absolute pleasure of posting a photo to the Sunday Scaries Instagram feed of Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, Atlanta's own, which I have not watched the most recent season. I had it downloaded for the plane ride, but I never got into it.
Yeah, I've not watched it either.
He was caught in, I think, New York City, just absolutely rocking out, just some short shorts and a tattered crew neck, and it just started getting me thinking, I mean, in Texas we're not here yet, but everywhere else, they're right on the precipice of my favorite season, which is shorts crewneck season.
My man Donald, honestly, I'm a little worried he's about to hang brain here. That's my
Yeah.
only thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the vibe, maybe just putting out that BDE. But
I don't have any underwear that can sustain these shorts.
I pray to God these have a mesh liner in there. You know what I mean?
Yes. He's about to fall out. If you're watching on YouTube right now, we put up a photo of Donald Glover rocking this look, our patron saint Haley Bieber, who rocks this literally all the time.
Yeah.
Her inspiration, I'm going to assume, Princess Diana, who's been all over the internet lately.
Mm-hmm.
And Kanye, who went through a big phase of this before the pandemic. I think this was around the Pablo time of life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And he really championed this for a long time. No pun intended there. Barrett, do you subscribe to the crew neck or
I do
sweater shorts season?
Yeah, I do totally understand why people love hoodie and shorts or crew neck and shorts or long sleeve tee in shorts, even if you're from Texas.
I'm doing that right now, actually.
Yeah, maybe that's all we can handle with the weather. Yeah, it's great because it's very comfortable up top, but it's very breathable on bottom. So you never really feel overheated, but you also stay warm in a bit of a chill or a breeze or something like that. It also, I think people really like it because it signals almost more than anything else like the transitional nature of September, October, right? Like especially if you live somewhere that actually gets seasons, it's like, yeah, the days are still kind of long, but evenings, mornings, maybe getting a little bit cooler for you, and we're starting to think about putting the pumpkins on the doorstep and like getting geared up for the fall and the leaves turning and the just all the stuff that comes with that. So it's a popular and celebrated look for a reason that I totally understand.
Because we had so little room in our suitcase, I did something all trip that is kind of what Kanye is doing in this photo, which I was just draping a sweater over my shoulders and calling it a day. I did this on our boat day, which I thought was just an unnecessary flex because I probably didn't need a sweater for a boat day.
Did you tie it around your neck?
I did at one point. I will talk about this later, but I did leave my sweater at a restaurant that it was only accessible by boat, and so I could not recover said sweater, and that ruined my vibe the rest of the trip.
So you lost a sweater, Sally lost a phone.
I'll get to it in a little bit, but it was a boat ride where there was a lot of casualties. It was not ideal.
Oh, did this happen on the same excursion?
Yes, and then we also had one more casualty as well. It was devastating. But we thought about it, and I was like, I don't know if we should get super dressed up for this like boat day because we're going to be on a boat.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're like, how many times in life are we going to have the opportunity to have like a boat just taking us anywhere we want along the Amalfi Coast?
Right.
And we knew we needed to we needed to look good in order to play good.
You had to take advantage of the boat,
yeah,
right, for sure.
Yeah, and it ruined us.
You know what? One of the thing about this is I actually have on jeans today, even though it's like what was the high today, like 99 or something crazy like that. I've been wearing mesh shorts or like some nylons recently. But in the office, it gets so cold with the AC that like I'm like grabbing like samples out of the Howler archive and like draping them over my legs like a blanket. And it's just not comfortable. And I maybe it's because I sit like right under the AC fan or something like that. But I've actually this is one of my kind of late September moves is it's basically been shorts and t-shirts for like 120 days straight now.
Yeah.
And at some point you just have to throw the gauntlet down and say, I'm making the switch. It's pants from here on out.
Here's what I'm trying to figure out. And this is a stress that I have every time I try to do short sleeves long sleeves and shorts. What's my sock game supposed to do these days? Like no-show socks, people that are very polarizing with people.
They are.
When it comes to, crew socks, I feel like sometimes, and I'm talking about something that we talked about during last episode's listener questions, is that sometimes I feel like I'm just looking too frat, dude.
Yeah.
And so I'm just at a kind of an identity crisis of how to rock some socks that don't look like they're too high up my leg, but also not looking like I'm just doing the no-show look.
Yeah, it is definitely a bit of a conundrum sometimes. And I think that the ideal here, the out of our selection of 4, the person that is doing this the best happens to be Kanye.
It does happen to be Kanye, in my opinion as well.
Phil and I, Phil from Club Cool, we're both really big on what we call the quarter sock.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes one. Nike makes one. Stance makes one. Bombas makes one. But if you can find a crew that's even just a little bit shorter, that's not just like, when you pull it up, it's like covering your entire calf. That's no good. But that's one thing that's really, really helpful for this, to not look so fratty, or like, especially with the popularity of New Balance. I'm a subscriber myself at this point. When I do like a white sock in a New Balance, I have the same type of reaction as you do sometimes, where I'm like, do I look like I'm about to go to like my first day in third grade
Hmm.
right now?
Hmm.
It's like that combo of like, is this too fratty, or is it even worse than that? Do I look like a little kid right now?
Yeah, yeah, and I have short
Um,
legs, so, like, the longer the sock, more I start worrying about it
yeah.
because, like, I don't want it to shorten my legs even more than it already does.
So shortening that sock, so still showing sock but shortening it helps big time. And then the other thing that Kanye is doing here that I really like is going like with some type of sock that's not a pop color but isn't white either.
Mhm,
So if you can find like some tans or some beige or something
mhm.
kind of neutral like that to play around with, that's also really good. The thing about the no show, I think that what's going on with the no show right now is you don't want it to look like you're trying to hide your socks, but then you didn't do it very well.
Yeah, I
So
do
if
something.
you just have like a little bit peeking up or a little bit poking out, or that just kind of looks not necessarily bad, but unfinished
Yeah,
or unintentional.
I do something that kills my feet, but the reason I do it is because I don't like the socks to be visible at all, and I buy these little tiny socks from Target that pretty much cut off the circulation of my big toe because it's bearing so much of the weight, and it doesn't stick out very much, but the reason I do that is because I don't like it when it sticks out at all,
Yeah.
and I also refuse to do it with any shoe that is not, like, a pair of Vans or something like that.
Well,
It
that's
like,
in
no loafer, like,
yeah.
I never do it with anything else.
That the just the lower vamp of some shoes that are popular also makes this really difficult, because like my go-to for a no-show is a sock called the Gamut by Stance,
Okay?
which stays on really well, and is essentially like a traditional no-show sock that is
Yep.
just like cut off the very top so that you won't see it on a traditional sneaker. But like on a pair of, it works on like a Vans Epoch, for example.
Yeah.
But if I throw on a slip-on, a Vans slip-on, it's no good. You'll see the very top of it. And so that's when you got to go find those ones like you're talking about, which are basically just like secured by a little piece of rubber to your big toe and
Oh,
the
it's
back of your
terrible.
heel. And it's not good and it's not
It's all I
comfortable.
had for the flight yesterday, and
Yeah.
my toes were just screaming at me like, "Dude, because I refuse to be the person that took their socks off on the flight.
Right.
I know
Right.
it was a 9.5 hour flight. I still wasn't gonna be that guy.
But yeah, especially when you get into loafers, if you can't find a sock that is completely hidden, even like when you're walking too, make sure that those socks are hidden when you are walking.
Mhm.
If they are popping up with loafers, you gotta you gotta just bear the burden and go barefoot.
Yep. Yep.
Do not do. That's the biggest mistake you can make.
What's the worst thing that
Is a
happens? You have smelly shoes. You might get a blister.
Yeah.
Whatever. Put a liquid bandage on for the rest of the week.
We live in humid and hot as fuck Texas, and like I generally don't wear socks with loafers. My trick is I just like sprinkle like talcum powder or baby powder in the loafers.
Mhm.
Helps keep it dry. Helps like keep it a little bit fresh. And like yeah, if you're gonna be gone for a 10-hour day, like your feet are gonna get sweaty. But it's better than me strutting around and like having a tiny little sliver of some black no-show sock keep poking out above, right on my
It just can't happen.
the
It's
lat
just
the
not a good
lateral side
look.
of my foot. Yeah.
People are talking about you behind your back. It's not good. Barrett, our next segment, I just clicked through. They deleted it.
Oh no.
They deleted it. I gotta go see. Our next segment was going to talk briefly about a collaboration between an unlikely collaboration, one that I was not anticipating, between Eddie Bauer and noted. I don't even know how to describe what they are. I guess a design studio.
Yeah.
Jjjjound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know you give the people a TLDR of you and Phil's thoughts on Jjjjound from Club Cool fame.
I mean, in general, neither Phil nor I have ever really totally understood the hype around Jound. I this is not because Jound doesn't make good stuff. I like the new Asics. I've liked the kind of matcha green colored like New Balance 990 V3 is a great looking shoe. I've even come around on like the 990 that he did last year, like especially like the kind of the dark gray colorway. Really good stuff. So some of the collaborations I'm here for. It's more so when he will post like a pair of black nylon shorts and people are like creaming their jeans in the comments as if this has never been done before, or as if nobody has ever thought to do it in this simplistic and brilliant and perfected of a way. And it's just not right. Like it's really, I think we're more turned off by the kind of the hive mind of the followers and the fans of Jound than we are by the actual
I think that
product.
makes sense. There's something simplistic about them that is kind of satisfying, but when it comes to simplicity, like the price point that they have for some of the things, I'm like, well, I don't know how you justify that. I've only owned one thing from them. It was an oatmeal sweatshirt.
Hmm.
I loved it. I loved it. It got someone spilled some red wine all over it. I'm not going to name who it was, but she's got red hair and I'm married to her. And so that sweatshirt is no longer in service. It's still in the closet just for comfortable moments. But
Yeah.
it's an admittedly high quality sweatshirt, but I still don't think I got my money's worth necessarily. But it was an oatmeal sweatshirt at a time where oatmeal sweatshirts weren't exactly around all the time.
Yeah.
I am seeing now that they actually did a collaboration last year together. So this wasn't something unlikely. They did a kind of a lighter quilted jacket last
Yeah,
year.
I think there was a vest as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
With Eddie Bauer. Yeah, and I mean, to be completely fair here and full disclosure, I've never, like, I have the camper short that they dropped several months ago that's sold out. Like, maybe these are great. Maybe these are awesome in hand. I've not actually bought anything that's just like Jound mainline. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So
Mhm.
I like, maybe if I got something in hand, I would kind of change my tune on the way that he does these like super minimalistic basics at a very high price point. The other hard part is that it's all released like merch.
Mhm.
So the drops are difficult. You're paying high prices for shipping, and then I don't think the return policy is even existent. If there is one,
Yeah.
it's not super easy. So just the barrier to entry, right? Like, you
Yeah.
kind of have to sell yourself on the hype to even get over the hump to purchasing something.
Mhm.
And so it's like, at least with the shoes, well, I know if I get the wrong size or I don't like them, I'll be able to sell them very easily. And
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
true.
that's the case with the $220, Dickies
Yeah.
alternatives.
I mean,
So
I'll hand up when I was running the Sunday Scaries account, like it was a mood board. I mean, I got a lot of inspiration from the Jound people. I mean, everyone there, whoever it is, I don't even know. Um, there were a lot of shared photos there. There was just a lot, but yeah, I don't know why it's four J's, Barrett.
that's
God, if
right.
you're gonna
Yeah.
type it in, make sure you do the four J's. But
That's
yeah,
my bad, yo.
th-
What sold you on the aesthetic of Jound, like on the mood board version of the Instagram account Jound? Because that's another piece of my relationship with it is like, to be honest, I also feel the same way. I feel very similarly about Hidden New York that I
mhm,
do about Jound,
yeah,
where it's like, I, more than anything, what I feel like you have is time. But the actual curation, it's not. It doesn't feel super novel to me.
there's something
Um,
about it, and I think it's a little worn off now because I think a lot of Instagram has kind of started picking up
yeah,
on it,
have
and you
have
see
done have
everything
done
more.
similar things. Yeah, for
But I think
sure.
at the time, it was almost like they had these aesthetic photos with like these pleasing aesthetic photos with something that was a little off. And that
Okay,
was interesting to me.
got
It's
it.
like they had a guy one time. It's like they always put Jound, 2021, spring, summer
Right,
2021. And it's like
right.
some random photo. And it's like a dude on a laptop sitting in a river and the laptop's completely underwater, but he's typing. And it's like, well, this is kind of a pleasing photo,
Okay,
except the guy's just typing on a laptop underwater.
yeah.
Like none of it really makes sense, but all of it's kind of like tacitly funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel I was probably just too late on it.
Yeah.
That's honestly.
I mean, they've been around for a long time, a long time.
Yeah.
Hidden New York's something that I'm relatively like new to, so I think I'm late on them. But yeah, similar kind of thing.
Yeah, they do more just like product shots of, and custom Nikes and just like stuff that they think is interesting. So again, it's like, if you just want to see cool clothes that exist, then it's a great follow, but it doesn't make me want to buy their merch necessarily.
Hmm.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes
And
sense.
honestly, like, maybe I'm just being a hater over here by not liking Hidden and Jound. I don't know. It's just
I mean,
not
I'm
for me.
kind of jealous. I'm kind of jealous that
Maybe, yeah,
like
maybe that's part of it.
they
Like,
have a
they
good. I wish I had a merch strategy
they
like they
they
have.
turned great, like, big followings into very successful merch lines, and that's, and for Jound, like, full on, a whole sportswear line. So
Kind of sounds
that's,
like something I want to do.
yeah, that is
Sounds
that
great.
is that is cool, and I respect that part of it for sure.
Oh, well, it's that time. We didn't do it after our listener questions the other day, Barrett. I was
That's
like, man,
right.
this feels a little short for the episode. It's time for some wish list updates or imminent cops. Um, I mean, I do you mind if I start?
Please do.
Like I said, I left my sweater at this restaurant. I had a sweater that Sally purchased for me from Frame. It was a light cashmere sweater from Frame that she got on the deepest discount that you could get from Frame. And I was like so happy that she didn't spend a lot of money on the sweater, and I wore it so often. Um, I got hot at the restaurant. I put it on the back of her chair, and I never took it off the back of her chair. It was all my fault. And so now, especially with cooler temperatures, hopefully on the horizon in Texas or wherever I may be, I need a new light cashmere sweater. If anyone has any recommendations, and this both of my things today that I need are things that I am willing to get recommendations for, please do it at retail.pod. I would love to get some DMs there. And then the other thing that I need is a new pair of sunglasses. After we got back on the boat after swimming,
Uh
I sat down on a pair of sunglasses that were, these were actually given to me by a sponsor at one point, and they were polarized, but they were light, and I really enjoyed them. I loved the way that the world looked through those lenses. And when I sat down on them, they just completely broke.
oh. Oh
Like,
man.
like it wasn't even salvageable. Like I looked at them and I said, both of these arms are completely off, and the hardware is toast. And so I'm now officially in the market for some mid-range polarized sunglasses.
What a boat ride, Will. Were y'all just like three Negronis to the wind or what?
Well, so in the beginning of the boat ride, we said we thought we were being a little boring. We got on at 10 o'clock, and he was like, all right, I'm going to take you all the way down the coast, and then we're going to slowly work our way back. And we're
Yeah.
like, perfect. Well, it started to rain.
Mm.
And so that kind of took the wind out of our sails, no pun intended. And when we finally got to the restaurant, Sally and I looked at each other and we said, I think we're the most boring crew he's ever had. We're not having we're not showing out for
Like,
this
what are you
boat
supposed to
day.
be like jumping off the boat doing gainers?
I
or
don't know. I
something?
was like, should we have like some tropical house going,
Yeah,
like drinking
yeah.
stuff? We had one beer on like the first 2 hours of the boat ride. And so then finally we decided to pound a bottle of wine, get 2 spritzes, and then we got back on the boat and we just started breaking shit. So it was just a little irresponsible.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
I need a new pair of sunglasses. That's the more pressing one. The
Yeah,
light sweater
yeah.
can wait probably a month before I get one. But
do you
these
have a
things-
backup pair to block the sun from your eyes? On
I
your
have a
drive home?
backup pair, but my backup pair is a pair of sunglasses that I would prefer not to have anything happen to. And
Okay.
so if I go to anything, I
Yeah.
need to get a pair that I can,
Right.
that I won't be devastated if I break. The only sunglasses I currently have are a pair of black sunglasses that I wore on my wedding day. And I would really like to maybe retire those at some point or just use them in nice situations.
Sounds like we need to dial up that former sponsor, and
I know.
you
I
know,
know.
you got good things to say about them.
I know. They were great. They treated me well. They were my driving sunglasses. They were my everything sunglasses.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tie a little bit of a conversation that I had while filling in for you on circling back.
Okay.
I did a little fall fashion stuff over there with Dylan and Dave, and when we got into footwear, I had a big recommendation for everybody, guys, girls, no matter what your style. It's something that, shockingly, I think because I covered on Club Cool, but we haven't really touched on here on this podcast, which is the newest shoe release from Tom Sachs, the GPS, the general purpose shoe.
Yeah.
Originally released in the white with a gum sole, which is like super reminiscent. I call it a kill shot on steroids. And then
I'm liking these more and more, unfortunately.
and
Every time I see them, I'm like, I kind
and
of like those.
the second colorway that was released was I just scrolled by them on Hidden, so I'm just going to pull up their post. Was these yellow ones right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say these are not actually on my wish list, and they're not an imminent cop. They are imminent to be delivered.
Really?
I got done talking to Dylan and Dave about it, about how much I loved these, about how they're going to go with everything. I was just gassing them up left and right. I loved the yellow. I love how it's not going to really go with anything, therefore it goes with everything. The price was not insane.
No, I just looked it up, and like the price
insane on StockX compared to
$109
to retail. And so I just threw in a bid, and like 3 days later it was accepted. And so that I felt the need to mention these on retail as well because this is my first like big fall shoe purchase, and I'm very very stoked to get these in because I think they are. I think they're just going to be my go-to. I think I'm going to wear them all the time.
I hate you for buying these because now I'm going to overspend on the white
On the white,
versions
yeah.
the second I see that you have them. I've been looking. I have a pair of cropped pants that I've been looking to wear for a very long time. With the second, like now that I've been to London and seen all these dudes just rocking cropped pants and like crushing it, I finally got the inspiration that I need. I need a little bit chunkier of a sneaker than like a pair of Vans that I always
Yeah,
use.
yeah.
And like the general purpose shoe are honestly perfect for what I need right now. And like you just ruined this for me. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a name for when you surprise me with something that you've already purchased that's in en route.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the process, the shipping to StockX and the shipping to me, I feel like they have opened up more hubs
Mhm.
across the country. So it's all happening very fast. Like I think the time from bid acceptance to these showing up on the doorstep is going to be like a week.
Okay.
I mean, maybe 8 days.
Are you
Like,
StockX? Are you StockX loyal?
yes. Here's why. I don't think that the GOAT interface is good.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's pretty dog shit. And I also like I have put in offers on GOAT and I've also tried to sell shoes on GOAT. I have never been successful doing either.
I've never
I've
even
never
tried.
I've-
I've always been a buy it now person.
Yeah.
Just because I hate the waiting period.
So
and if I get denied, then I stop wanting things.
A lot of people that I know either in person or online that are much bigger like sneaker heads and collectors than I am prefer GOAT to StockX.
I've only done through StockX, and I've never had anything but good experiences
But
with StockX.
that- and
So
that-
I
that's
can
the
only
s-
speak to them.
That's the same for me. I feel like StockX is it's essentially the Yelp problem. Like they are so much bigger than the other guys than GOAT or Stadium Goods or whoever else
Hmm.
that like there are just more people to complain when things do go wrong.
Yeah.
And you only ever hear about like the 1-star
That makes
experiences
sense.
instead of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of 5-star ones. So to that end though, one of the reasons why I decided I was just like I need to do this now is because I don't think that there are reps of this shoe yet, and so it felt like it made sense to grab these now before the Reddit boys get a hold of them and are just like pumping out fake versions of them.
I think you're gonna be very happy with your.
Yeah.
I'm not coming up with anything to call these yet. I'm gonna come up with something. Oh, this felt good, Barrett. It was
Yeah.
nice to get back in the saddle. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I had a 2-podcast day today, and I think that was necessary. I think I need to shock the system.
Yeah.
And now,
If you'd gone home, you'd definitely be asleep right now.
oh, there was definitely a world where you said you couldn't do retail therapy today, and I was napping from 3 to 5 this afternoon. We will be back in 2 weeks' time unless something pops up that needs a must cover. But yeah, go check out youtube.com/Sunday Scaries podcast to watch this episode. Go follow at Retail Pod. Go follow at Barrett Dudley, at Will DeFreeze, at Sunday.Scaries. Go get in the world. At Wash Media as well. Go make it happen. Barrett, any closing thoughts?
No, happy to be back. Glad to hear about your trip. Give us a follow, rate, like, review, follow us on the YouTube, and we'll see y'all soon.
All right. See you guys later.